Cat Letterers, and welcome back to Show Me Your Florals. We are on day 7 today, and it's a little bit sad because it's the last day, but I really hope you've had fun painting watercolor florals from scratch yesterday. In today's video, we are going to put everything together that we've learned so far. So if you haven't watched any of the previous videos, I highly recommend that you do that first and then return to this video. So what we are going to do today is create a bouquet out of all the floral elements that we've created so far, and it's up to you to decide which types of florals you would like to use for this. You can either choose the floral that you've painted yourself, or if you prefer some of the previous ones, you can certainly do this as well. I'm going to be using these ones, and I'm going to show you how you can assemble them, slightly modify them, and then create a nice little bouquet from these elements. So right about now, it would have been very useful if I actually had renamed my layers and my groups. So let's do this now. So let's rename this group, and this is going to be our leaves. And then this group here is our peony. And let's bring these to the top of the stack so that we know where they are. Of course, you could also start from scratch and paint these again, but because I already have them, I'm going to reuse them. So now the first thing we're going to do is duplicate our peony, and then we are going to move it to the side and maybe make it slightly smaller as well. You could also choose to use the warp tool and ever so slightly change the shape of this so it doesn't look exactly the same as the previous one, like this. And then we're going to do the same thing with our leaves. We're going to duplicate them, and we are going to flip them around like that and then move them into place. So now we want to have these leaves sort of come out from the bottom of our flowers, and you can see now how they overlap ever so slightly, which is not quite what we want, but there is an easy way to fix this. I'm actually going to overlap them even more, and I also want to overlap the flowers ever so slightly as well, like this. So this looks really good right now, but now let's fix these little overlaps there. And the way to do this is, of course, using a layer mask. Sometimes it can be a little bit tricky to find out exactly which layer needs the layer mask. So what I recommend you do is turn off the layer so you know which flower is affected, and then open up the layers panel here. And now we are going to create a layer mask here, and then choose black and choose the soft airbrush. And then we can mask out part of the flower here where it overlaps. And now you can see it doesn't completely erase this layer. And the reason for that is because we've got the layer mask on the top layer. So now what we need to do is we need to transfer this to the bottom layer as well. So what you can do now is tap on the layer thumbnail, tap select, and then go back to the bottom layer and then tap on mask. So now this is automatically going to transfer the mask that you have on this layer onto that layer as well. And then we are done. So now you'll see that it's done it a little bit too much, but luckily because we've been using the mask, this has not been deleted. So we can actually add this back in by changing the brush to white and then paint on top of the layer mask. So now we can add this back in, and now it looks very nice. So now let's do the same thing for the leaves as well. So now what you might like to do before you do this is actually turn one of the layers off so it's easier to see where the mask goes, and then tap mask here. And now we're going to erase the leaves from underneath the flower. Make sure that you've got black selected, and then we can erase this. And then we are going to transfer the mask to the other layer as well. So we're going to tap select on the layer mask thumbnail, and then we are going to select mask on this layer and turn it back on. And now this is exactly what we want. And we've masked out the parts of the leaves that are hiding behind the flowers like this. So now let's do the same thing on the other leaf as well. So again, we are going to turn off the color burn layer, and then we're going to add a layer mask to the bottom layer like this, and then paint over the parts that we don't like to see anymore, and this hides them nicely. And now all we have to do is transfer that layer mask onto the other layer. So we tap on the layer thumbnail, select it, and then transfer it to this part here. So now we're going to go mask, and then turn this layer back on. And there you have it. This is our bouquet finished. And this concludes our Show Me Your Floral series. I really hope you've enjoyed this. You've learned a few things and you've had fun painting watercolor florals. If you've enjoyed painting these watercolor florals, I'm going to loop up another couple of videos with more tutorials about how to use the watercolor brushes in Procreate. Give me a thumbs up if you've enjoyed watching this. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. And don't forget to hit the bell icon to get notified every time I upload a new video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.